Welcome to episode 24 of Rev Run's Ramblings. Alliteration is best written and not spoken, especially whenever you're saying R's or M's or B's or P's. There's just certain letters that don't really roll well on the tongue, especially if you are me, which you aren't. So that makes it irrelevant to you unless it is. So today is a convergent point, being February 6th, on a lot of different events that are going on. Today is a 90s dance for my oldest, and so I'm going along with her because parent chaperones are, I think, asked to come. The asking of chaperones is really interesting, where the language makes it sound like a parent is supposed to take their kid. But anyhow, I'm going. She's really excited. I'm excited. I don't really know what 90s apparel to wear, mostly because I don't have a lot. I might wear a Deion Sanders jersey from the Dallas Cowboys, which would be fairly appropriate because he would have been on the Cowboys in the 90s. But talking to someone who graduated in 1992, he said that his view of the 90s was very different than mine, and it was. The 90s that I would remember would be the late 90s, 97 through 2000 would be that era that I would think of. And for him, he would have graduated in the early 90s, so like he would have been fully involved with all the trends and everything else of the 1990s. So for me, the 90s in my brain, with the fashion that people would have worn, would have been like the jean code jeans, which kind of bled over into the 2000s, which the whole goal and purpose was to have as big of pant legs as possible, which is just absurd and ridiculous. And then there was these windbreaker jackets that everyone had, the Charlotte Hornets windbreaker jacket that everyone other than me had. But there were also, so Jordans were part of the 90s, but there's these I think it was Nike Air Max. I could be totally wrong, but there's a pair of shoes that you pumped up with the tongue. You pushed the top of the tongue, and actually was referenced in the George of the Jungle movie, where George of the Jungle, he has to run and save Jane or whatever. And obviously with George of the Jungle, it's meant to be silly and satire. He gets a pair of these shoes, straps them on, pumps them up, and goes and runs. And the amusing thing for runners when they see that is they are basketball shoes, not running shoes. So it would have been terrible for him to have ran across the Serengeti in them. But anyhow, so all that to say, it's convergent points, because then tomorrow we have a Euchre and chili cook-off night, and then the youth group is hosting a Super Bowl party. We're only watching the first half because it's going to be like 8:30, and I just think everyone should go home and go to bed. I'm also not going to deal with any of that halftime decision. It's been the bane of youth pastors' existences whenever you stream the Super Bowl. Of what do you do with a halftime performance? It has always been a question mark as to, is this going to be appropriate? And I am not going to stream the alternative halftime performance because I have zero confidence that it will be a better alternative. So I'm saying, guys, go home. That's what I will say. But it'll be neat. Hopefully a lot of people bring different hors d'oeuvres, and we're going to have Marco's Pizza. Marco's does a great job supporting our church, and I just want to make sure everyone supports the Marco's here, and Mommy Ronnie does a great job there. But so I'll backtrack. So the 90s dance party, I have no idea what that'll look like. I probably won't know almost any of the songs because my music knowledge of the 90s was Christian ska and rock and that kind of stuff. So none of that stuff's going to be played, which is fine. I don't have to know any of this stuff. Then, but Bennett is really looking forward to it. And last Friday was the parent-child basketball game. And I'm just super happy. The coaches, I can't say enough good about her coaches. They've done a great job getting everything around. You saw the basketball last week. It's just a great basketball, too, that she was given. So she was really excited to get to play that day with it, and warm-ups and cool down. But during the game, there was this question that pretty much all the dads had of like, how hard should we go? Like, are we going to get hurt? And before the game, while we were warming up, Bennett, she told Brittany, my wife, she's like, I don't think these rims are 10 foot. Because we were at an elementary school. And so I was like, I had moved a little bit. And so I'm like, all right, I'll see if it's 10 foot. So then I do a like 2-step jump, and I barely tap the rim and I land. And I'm like, oh, they're 10 foot. And so I'm feeling like kind of happy. I'm like, oh, I could pop up and touch rim without a lot of warm up. We're good. And so then like the warm up time's over and I step off the court because with Brittany and I there, only one parent. So you play when your kid plays, and Brittany was on the court and I was off. The moment that everyone like gathered to the center of the court for the tip off, my right knee just started hurting. Like the patellar tendon just inflamed. I'm like, oh my goodness, like I haven't even done anything. And then I remembered I had done the jumping. So I was like, I was a little stressed, but the game was really fun because the parents, they enjoyed playing with the kids likewise. And there's just the amount of smiles that the kids had was wonderful. And it was just a lot of fun to see kids. And I tried to hold back, and I tried to not go super hard and aggressive. I didn't block every shot. I didn't steal every pass. And one of my worries though about as parents when we were playing against the kids is, so we tried to always make like the extra pass. And there's a few of us that had played a little bit of basketball that like, we could see some things. And I worry a little bit that by adults making the extra passes, maybe the no look behind the back and everything else, and that by doing that, we almost set like a bad example for the kids on how to just handle, like how to like do good passes, because it's like the Steph Curry situation. So kids should not just shoot a lot of threes because Steph Curry shot them. Steph Curry was very capable, but he became a volume 3 shooter because he learned how to be a good shooter. So like, you don't just pass however you want. It's, you should know where you're passing, and then you should learn how to do the no look behind the back and everything else. So anyhow, that's an aside there. So I was half worried. Like, were we teaching the kids like how to be a little sloppy? But hopefully they also saw that basketball can be a lot of fun. And the Bennett has a tournament next week, and then in 2 weekends. Really looking forward to watching those. But tomorrow is a Euchre tournament. And whenever I told people about Euchre, I was like, yeah, well, someone asked me we should do a Euchre tournament in the winter. They asked me right before I went on vacation. I'm like, I will start addressing this whenever I come back. We finally have it going on, and it's arranged. And I tell people about it, and there are people like, Euchre? What's Euchre? What is this card game? And it makes me so sad, because like Euchre is what I grew up playing. Euchre is what my dad played so much, and he also played bridge. And there's some, I don't know anyone else who plays bridge. We played a few different card games, but like Euchre is what we did. And like I remember my freshman year in geology class, we had a kind of like a 0 hour-ish type situation where there's supposed to be the Channel Zero News or whatever, which was a thing in the 2000s that we didn't have. So we just, I think obviously at least 4. There's about 6 to 8 people who enjoyed playing Euchre, and we would just play Euchre until class started. And that's how we do it. We'd play Euchre then at cross country camp. In fact, my brother Tim, this is one of my favorite memories about Euchre. So my brother Tim, my freshman year, was the #1 runner on the cross country team. And but in very close competition with him was Patrick Hall. And then with very close competition to both of them was then Austin Brown, who was in my grade. But Austin was not the unanimous #1 runner going into the season, obviously. And so we were playing Euchre at cross country camp. And Tim and Pat were on the same team for some reason. And those two had such a competitive rivalry between the two of them that, like, Pat Hall would win a trick and Tim would have the last card, and he would trump his partner in order to win the trick because he couldn't let Pat win it. And I don't know, but they somehow still won games doing that, which is just absolutely terrible and dumb. So if you don't know what euchre is, though, and you watch this video in time, would love to have people come play euchre tournaments. Pastor Dave, he grew up playing euchre. When I mentioned it to the Boy Scout troop, their troop leader said he played a lot of euchre as well. And so all that to say, there's a convergence of a lot of stuff going on today, tomorrow, Sunday, and then Valentine's Day is in a week. And I ordered a special Valentine's Day gift for Britt and the girls like 2 weeks ago, and it still hasn't arrived in the mail. And I really hope I didn't fall for one of those scam gift things. If it did, that's terrible. But anyhow, I hope everyone's doing well. And I made this a shorter video because this is my third video being put out this week, because I did a special response to the people using the book of Deuteronomy as like an anti-immigrant book. And they quoted Deuteronomy 28 verses 43 and 44. That video was a little bit more aggressive than I intended it to be, because I was just so frustrated that people would try to use the Bible against immigrants, especially because the overwhelming message that God gave to Israel about the foreigners that would come in among them was to take care of them and make sure that they were well fed and loved, and that they were treated equally, and that they were part of the social networks and social support groups to make sure that they were taken care of. And so that was really heavy on my heart, especially because earlier this week there was the question as to whether or not people who were refugees from Haiti would be able to stay, and that's really want any refugee who's here in the United States to be able to stay. One of the things I'm most proud about with being an American citizen is our historically rich stance of at least being a country that has welcomed foreigners in better than almost any other country, that has brought refugees in and has done a excellent job of trying to make sure that someone who comes here can live the American dream. We have not lived up fully to that promise, but that's one of the things that's made me the most proud of being an American, is especially during the Bush years where we worked so hard to let refugees in, and to make sure that if something was going wrong in a different country, that we learned the air of World War II and we let people in, and that we made sure that they were safe here and not at risk where they were. But all that to say, shorter video this week because I've got 3 videos put out on the YouTube channel this week, and I don't have fancy graphics like a lot of the YouTube videos. This is more of a podcast format where you can listen to it rather than watch. But have a great and wonderful day, and thanks for listening to episode 24 of Reverend's Ramblings.